What's up, you guys? This is Tasha from Brookshire Desire Podcast. Stand on it. How you guys doing today? First of all, let me just say we are still having entrepreneur on the rise coming through. Let me tell you, with that being said, we have Mr. Noel Garcia with his own wine distillery. Okay. And what look, I know you probably think this is funny, but what behooves me that this Black Hispanic or African Latino got started on his own. But I ain't gonna tell a story because that's not what I do. I'm gonna ask these questions, but it amazes me that I was honored to meet him after a small business expo. So furtherless, let me go to him. So how you doing today, Mr. Garcia?
I am doing good today. How are you?
I'm great. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you to come through. Also looking at this ENG distillery. Let me tell you, I had a taste.
It was a good time at the Small Business Expo. It was really cool to have all the business owners that were there for other things to come by my table and do a tasting. And I'll say my biggest thing about going there was meeting other like-minded people. And it was more about connecting with potential partners and ways that I could link up with people. And, it never hurts to have a table full of liquor in front of you because that's a good way to get people.
It's a good way to get that day started. Because I was halfway in, I said, hold up. Do we got little shots out at this table? Wait, you see the business cards, but really? He said, well, you got to sample it. I'm like, I don't do shots, but I was like,
and that's the one thing. They allowed me to do the tasting, but I couldn't make cocktails. So all I could do was actually you can do like a quarter ounce tasting pour for everybody. So I always tell people that when you're tasting spirits like that in that kind of environment, that's like the roughest it's going to be because you're drinking room temperature, straight alcohol out of little tiny cups.
In a big room full of people.
Exactly. Exactly.
Look, before I get started with you, how many people came back about 2-3 times?
Well, you know what? A couple people did, but then we did the mixer afterwards. So that was when a lot of people came back. At the end of the Small Business Expo, we volunteered to participate in the mixer because that helped them because they only had one bartender. So by me going over there and setting up, everybody was able to come get a second or third or fourth taste while they were over there. So it was a really good look. I ended up with some sales because of it. So it was good for leads and prospecting. I got a couple of people that, are thinking about doing their own brands and how I can help them create what they want to have. So I think overall the experience was good on my end.
Okay, Mr. Garcia. So let's talk a little bit about yourself. Where you at? He's located in Illinois, but a little bit where you at, a little bit of background on how you got started in the distillery. Like I am amazed.
Well, I learned about the business of distilling while I was in Las Vegas. And while I was working in Las Vegas at a restaurant, I just happened to find out that there was somebody opening a distillery. And so what I did is I volunteered to help at his distillery during my off days. And after going through the process and seeing, it's a lot of work, but also seeing that first spirits come off the line when he pulled it off the still, and I was able to taste the first legal booze made in Nevada in a long time at the Las Vegas distillery, I was hooked. I was like, okay, I really want to do this. And that's when I seriously started looking at how I could make it happen. So that was kind of the start of it. But the biggest thing was volunteering to work at other distilleries for free. Because they always say if you love something and you want to do it and you have a passion for it, you should be willing to do it for free. And so I did that. I volunteered my time at a couple of distilleries to get my hands on the process and understand. Heck, my family went with me a couple of the weekends so they could see how it worked, because
Is that
running your own business is like a whole thing. And so if your family's on board, it makes it a lot easier.
Yes, it does. So is that what the grape stumping?
No grapes on our end, thank goodness. We are making liquor. So for actually we do for our brandy, then there's grapes. But for that kind of stuff, I usually would source the juice already made. So the people I have the winery, I let them make the juice and the wine for me. Then I bring it over and I'll go through the fermentation process and then I'll run it to make it into brandy. So that's what like the cherry brandy that you had at the tasting, it was done that way. So the company that does the processing was a winery because they make all of their own wines and everything, and we use some of their cherry wine and turn that into cherry brandy. Okay. So it's kind of a cool partnership that we have, and that's another thing. It's all about connecting with other people that do similar things so that you can move your process forward. Okay. And it never hurts to help somebody else because that's helping you move forward.
Exactly. And I got to throw it in there, you guys. Brookshire Business Finance does help as far as with Distillery. Okay. So if you do have your own wine company, we do funding for that too as well. But as we already know it ain't about me, it's all about Mr. Garcia. So Mr. Garcia, I want you to show out. What do you got in front of you and what can you show them and about your bottles and what to expect?
Well, I'll say I have our gin, which is probably surprising to me. Our gin has probably become the most popular clear spirit that we make. And I think a lot of that is because
there we go.
People are not expecting gin to be good. A lot of us have had a bad experience with gin in the past. And I will not mention any names, but I'll mention the nicknames: Bumpy Face, Naughty Head, brands that had that name. And those gins kind of turned people off. And what I did when we were making our gin, me and my friends, my family, we basically drank gin for about 6 months straight. We tried every single kind of gin, and then we were narrowing it down to kind of figure out where did we want to fall in this broad spectrum. And then once we got that, then we said, okay, how can we keep it simple? Our gin only has 6 botanicals in it. You'll hear a lot of gins advertising they have 32 botanicals and 38, all these large numbers, but your mouth can only really taste like 8 things, 8 kind of flavor compounds at a time. So I focused on keeping it simple. It's a very clean gin. It's got a lot of citrus in it because what do most people make with it? Gin and juice, gin and tonics. And so I wanted it to play nice in those cocktails. And then
I will, Mr. Garcia. I don't know. I got a bartender that if I would get a drink that will make my drink for me as long as it's sweet.
Well,
sweet. But I tell you, I said, ooh, that's bitter.
Well, our gin, thank goodness, is not a bitter gin because we have a lot of citrus in there, and the nose is on it is very floral, but it's also got that citrus on it. So it smells really good. And a lot of times the smell of a spirit can affect how it tastes, and it gets your mind like when I'm talking about the cherry brandy, it smells like cherry. So in your mind, you're already thinking it's going to be sweet. So it gives it that little sweetness, even though you're drinking, straight 80 proof brandy. Woo. And then, so to go back to the gin, so with the gin, what we did next is then we put the gin into a brand new barrel, the same way we do our whiskey, and we got our barrel aged gin. And this has become like the surprise hit, I think, in all the tastings we've done, because there's not many distilleries that are doing a barrel aged gin. I think when we were researching and looking around, we found about 10 of them. And I was able to get like 4 of them directly. I actually drove down to Louisville to a distillery to go get their barrel aged gin to try it out, to compare. And it's one of those, it's got the gin nose and the notes, but then it's got all of the smoothness from the barrel. So it's kind of like, it gives it an edge that's really good, the woody taste and some of that smoke. And so it's kind of something different that you don't see a lot. And that's the thing, when you're new and you're starting out, first you want to have quality products. But then you have to find something that's going to differentiate you and make yourself stand out. And I found by reintroducing gin to us, because it's kind of something that we don't like anymore, and then also taking that same gin and creating a new product, the barrel aged gin has been kind of a way that I've kind of been able to get a little bit of buzz about the distillery, especially being brand new.
Okay. Okay. And what else we have next?
All right. Next, we have our bourbon.
Bourbon.
And I've learned through these tastings that ladies have moved into the bourbon world heavy. The ladies like the sweetness of the bourbon, but they also like the barrel aged, the smoothness, and you can make some really nice cocktails with bourbon that are not really sweet. Like ladies are now getting into the old fashions and Manhattans, whereas before it was always like really sweet apple martinis. Now it's like a little more mellow stuff that's a little more balanced, because people are now, they're getting more into flavor again, which is great for bartenders as well as distilleries and restaurants and bars, because at one point everything was either I'm drinking it straight, or it's either straight shot or
straight shot. I don't do straight shot. I can't do a straight shot. If anything got a burn going down like that, I want sweet.
and that's what they, all right. So that from that, remember when you came to taste our vodka, our vodka, simple, clean vodka made from corn. And then when we run it so that A, it's really smooth, but B, it actually has a taste. It's not odorless, colorless, and tasteless. It actually has a little bit of flavor, so it'll stand up in a cocktail, but you can still drink it straight, even though that's not my preferred way to drink vodka, but it's still smooth enough to drink straight, and it makes excellent martinis because it's got a little bit of flavor and that little bit of sweetness, but it's not overpowering. It's not sugar added sweetness. It's actually the natural sweetness of the corn.
Okay. Anything else?
Of course. Rum. This is kind of what started it all. The rum was the reason we started. It was because I'm Dominican. One of my best friends is Trinidadian, and we were talking about making sorrel, which is a Trinidadian kind of drink that's made around Christmas, and a lot of the older folks used to spike it with rum. And I was like, we should make a sorrel flavored rum. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna start playing around with that. And so my wife, I bought a still and I set it up in the bathroom to figure out how to, start doing test batches.
In the bathroom, Mr. Noel.
In the bathroom. I needed a space with water. I needed to be, I'm like, hey, well, you know what? That's where gin came from a long time ago. It used to be called bathtub gin. And that's what they used to make it. Make it in the bathtub. But I used to set up first in the bathroom, then in the kitchen. When you don't know what you're doing, it's like, I don't want to blow nothing up and I don't want to mess nothing up. So I had to learn, and we started with rum because rum was pretty easy to make. Our rum is 50% molasses and 50% of demerara sugar, which is like the sugar in the raw. And when I first learned how to make rum, it basically started with just white sugar. And it was like, it's rum technically, but it's more called sugar shot. And that's like where a lot of people that try to get into distilling start, because sugar is cheap, it's easy to work with, and if it messes up, you don't feel bad. And so that is kind of where I learned, like getting my first hands on before I got to work on larger equipment and all of that. And so rum was our original kind of product that we wanted to launch. And that was like the start of all of this, was the idea of making some rum and making some sorrel flavored rum and just getting into all of that. And so it's been good. All right, what's next?
Dark rum too?
We do not have a dark rum. And the crazy part is, every time I've made a batch, I end up selling it, so I don't have enough to put in barrels. So I got to make more.
Okay.
Because
that's
our operation is still small. Yeah, we're still relatively small, and I mean, it's a good thing that everything I get my hands on, I'm able to sell. But then it's a not so good thing, because I've got to be able to produce in larger quantities so that I can one day get on the store shelves and all of that. So
Where
right now we're selling direct to customers through tasting events and all of that stuff. But the goal is next year to ramp up production and then start getting into the Benny's of the world and other liquor stores in the Chicagoland area.
okay. That's why I was about to ask you. Answer that question. But while we still going through the flow of things, give them your website and let them know how they be able to contact you. And first, before we do that, don't you customize?
Yes, we do. We do custom labels for clients. I actually work with a couple of marketing companies, and they have their clients because they want clients nowadays. They want to be able to give gifts that are unique. So what we do is right now we're doing it mainly with our vodka. So instead of our standard vodka label, it'll be black, and then we can have the company logo right here, so that if you wanted to give a gift to somebody, you could send them a bottle versus sending them what everybody sends now, which is, a cup. How many cups you got sitting under your cabinets that you don't use? That was another thing I was trying to do with Small Business Expo, is get back to the old days of some things. Back in the day when you closed a big deal, you sent your client a bottle of bourbon, a bottle of whatever they drank, something that you knew they were going to use.
1965,
Exactly.
a 1920 bottle.
And that's exactly where we want to be. I want people to say, hey, we just closed on a new house. We just refinanced. We just completed a big deal. Send them a bottle of American single malt whiskey. Don't send them a Yeti cup. They don't need another insulated cup. Send them a bottle of whiskey, something that they're going to appreciate. Every time they take a sip, they're going to think of you. And then when they get to the bottom of it, they're going to call you and be like, hey.
All right, look, don't forget it. Look, send Brookshire a bottle. Rum.
Exactly. But that's what it's all about. And I mean, for me, making spirits is a way of connecting people in a fun way, and if we can do it through our businesses and do it through our day-to-day lives, and just have those interactions and have those conversations and do it over a nice glass of my spirits, I have no complaints about that at all.
That's right. So give them your information so they can follow you, where they can get in contact with you. Although we know it's going to be below, I will have all that posted below. Let them know how they can get in contact with you.
All right. At NG Distillery for all social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter is at NG Distillery. And then our website is ngdistillery.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find all our info and everything on there. You can find our products there. We got a coming events page, like future places we're going to be doing tasting. So we have that we're updating. And you can always just reach out if you want to talk about private labeling. If you're interested in having your own brand of vodka, rum, or bourbon or something like that, we can help you go down that path and talk to. Because we're a smaller producer, you won't have to go through the hurdles of a larger company and the larger cost of doing bigger batches. Because we do small batches, we can work with people that want to do that. So restaurant, bar owners, if they want to have their own brand on the bar, I'm the guy to talk to here in Chicagoland. And hopefully in the future, we'll branch out and cover more areas.
Okay, you guys, I will have all that posted below. Like I said, check him out. Go to his website, Instagram. I mean, come on, we got to support each other. This brother is doing it. Okay. It just caught my attention. I'm like, no, I got to have you on the show. So, people can see, what I'm saying, how to do this or how to get started. You see, he's willing to answer any questions and to have your own brand. Oh, I'm coming. I need Brookshire sitting up here somewhere.
Brookshire doing enough. Look, after I get some funding from you, then we'll be able to talk about that. Then I'll be able to ramp up my production and I can have a special Brookshire fermenter over there. They'll be like, this fermenter is just for Brookshire.
No, it's not. But I'm gonna purchase it personally because with all the I got some success stories. I got to send them a bottle. But I would love to have my name on that, so I get the concept. So I ain't about me, it's about you. We had to help each other. I'm like, Mr. Garcia, I need you to do me about 4 or 5 of them because I'm closing them, baby. I'm closing. I need to send them something. Okay.
I am with you. I am with you.
Once again, you guys, y'all have to hit like, subscribe, and share. Share this if you want to know how to start your own distillery. Not only that, it's some good information up here. With that being said, make sure you follow him on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So, with that being said, we love you guys. We are Entrepreneur on the Rise. I thought I told you that we won't stop. What?
Thank you.
Thank you for coming through. We had a pleasure having you here. You can always come back.
Definitely.
Come back.
Definitely. Next time we come back is when we open the tasting room, and then we'll get you to come down and we can do it live from the distillery.
Oh, not a problem. Wait, you located in Marion?
In Thornton, Illinois. So right next to Homewood. So we're right next to Homewood is the largest suburb, but we are in Thornton, Illinois. Very proudly. The community there has been awesome. And there's also another distillery close to us. So once our tasting room is open, you guys come to visit us. You'll be able to visit 2 distilleries within 5 minutes of each other, another craft brewery. So you'll be able to support a lot of small businesses all in the same area. And hopefully we'll be ready by next spring to start having guests come over to the distillery. And then we're going to do something really cool. You'll be able to come down and do your own small batch of vodka or gin. We're going to have a gin class, and I'll have all the different botanicals that go in gin. Those 32 that I told you about that people have. I'll have all 32 out there, and you pick which ones you want, and we'll figure out what your perfect gin recipe will be.
Okay, look, I'm always in for a new line of income. My own gin. Look, I ain't even gonna get started. But with that being said, you guys, our time is up. Mr. Garcia, we do love you so much from all the way over here, out here to Naperville, all the way out there. Thank you for coming through. Once again, you guys, hit like, subscribe, and share. If you want to know anything, information will be posted below. We thank you guys. We thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all have a great day.